trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
With the Melly's lawyers just dropped new paperwork right before his bond hearing, trying to get YNW Bortlen's statements completely removed from the upcoming trial, claiming those statements were built on false information. If this move works, it could seriously boost Melly's chances of getting a release date before trial even begins. But to really understand how soon that could happen, you've got to look at what Bortlen originally said and where things started falling apart. It reads on October 26th, Cortland Henry arrived at Memorial Hospital's emergency room asking for help for 2 passengers in his car. Sack chaser and Juvie Henry was questioned at the hospital by Detective Moretti, where he gave his version of events. He was later taken to the location where he claimed everything happened and continued answering questions from investigators. But here's the key detail: just like during Bortlen's interrogation that same night, police already had reasons to believe he wasn't telling the truth.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your 2 friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like,
these your 2, I'm assuming close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them in service by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
But now, even though investigators suspected Bortlen was lying from the jump, they still had to document and submit everything he said. It's required by law. The report continues when Henry arrived at the emergency room. He told officers his car and his friends had just been shot at. The officer immediately called for backup. While continuing to question him, Henry said they had just left a studio and were stopped at a traffic light when another vehicle pulled up and opened fire. He claimed he ducked and sped off, and the crazy part, he doubled down on that same story during interrogation.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car, and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Expressway. Yeah.
Then you took 75 south?
At that point, officers started pressing for details about what actually happened in the moment. They wanted specifics. How was Bortlen driving? Did he hit anything? Could he identify who allegedly fired at them? What exactly did he see?
Ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here from when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
This is where things really start to unravel, because Bortlen is clearly contradicting himself, and it's obvious to investigators he's not being honest. That's exactly why Melly's legal team is pushing hard to have those statements thrown out their arguments. It's nearly impossible to defend Melly when the case is built around inconsistent and misleading claims. According to reports, Melly's lawyer says allowing Bortlen's statements into evidence would violate Melly's 6th Amendment rights, the right to confront witnesses. He argues that even if Bortlen lied or had his own involvement, that alone doesn't prove Melly did anything and could unfairly influence a jury. The defense also pointed out that on October 18, 2025, Bortlen told police a drive-by happened after leaving a studio, but investigators found zero evidence to back that story. It gets deeper. Bortlen was later charged with double M, but ended up taking a plea deal where he pled no contest to accessory charges, and those M charges were dropped. And that right there puts Melly in a tough position because of what Bortlen is now required to say as part of that deal. Let me break it down. As expected, Bortlen accepted the plea and agreed to what's called a proffer, meaning he has to talk his sentence 10 years plus 6 years probation minus any time already served. Now here's the catch: since he pled no contest, the judge requires him to give a factual basis for the plea in simple terms. He has to explain exactly how he was involved as an accessory. And by doing that, he's basically confirming that the crime actually happened, the same crime Melly is being charged with. And according to DJ Academics, this isn't just a quick yes or a no situation. Bortlen has to fully explain the story. It's similar to the type of plea deal we saw in the ICEL RICO
Tweet out to
case.
him. People are upset. I said, this is a gonna plea. This is a gonna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gonna plea. Why do I say he signed a gonna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that it happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know? And then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
The easiest way to understand all this, Bortlen now has to describe how everything went down from his point of view inside that car. He might not have to directly name YNW Melly, but he does have to explain what happened step by step. And once he confirms that Juvie and Sack Chaser lost their lives from what went down inside that vehicle, that alone could be enough for the court to connect the dots. And that's where things get real serious for Melly.
Be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
This right here is exactly why Melly's legal team is fighting hard to get YNW Bortlen's statements tossed out, because on the night everything went down, Bortlen stuck to the story that it was a drive-by. But now, under that plea deal, he's basically required to admit the incident happened inside the car. That kind of flip isn't just messy, it could seriously confuse a jury, and even worse, it might make it seem like YNW Melly was trying every possible angle to escape the case, forcing his lawyers to defend two completely different narratives at once. But that's not the only issue. They also want Bortlen's statements gone because the feds have another key player backing the Melly's ex.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
Now, here's where things get even more intense. When Melly's trial kicked off back in 2023, Mariah was nowhere to be found. Police were calling, showing up at her house. Nothing. She had basically vanished. But fast forward to late 2025. She decided she wanted to come back home, saying she missed her family. She booked a flight using her IDs, which immediately triggered a security alert, and the moment she landed and went to grab her luggage, police were already waiting. She was quickly surrounded and arrested at her first court appearance. The judge didn't waste time. He gave her a deal straight up. Testify against Melly and you walk free. She agreed instantly. And just like that, things got way worse for YNW Melly on her way home. She even posted on Facebook into my village. Thank you. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine. According to official reports, prosecutors later dropped a witness tampering case against Jamel Demons to avoid risking key jail call evidence tied to the Double M trial. They were worried that if those calls got suppressed, it could weaken the entire case heading into 2027. Still, they had already accused Melly of witness tampering and gang-related activity, claiming he tried. To stop Mariah from testifying, financial records added more fuel, showing Mariah allegedly received over $31 from Melly's management and close associates, along with help buying a Mercedes despite having no reported income. On top of that, jail call surveillance footage and even inmate messages pointed to Melly allegedly running a communication system from inside jail, using other inmates to pass messages after losing phone privileges. Prosecutors also claimed those messages included coded instructions to keep Mariah away from court, even mentioning co-defendant YNW Bortlen. And what's wild, this whole coded language angle had already been hinted at years ago by Juvie's father during an interview.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person, and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, try to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
while all of this looks pretty damaging on the surface, Melly's lawyer made a move that could flip everything. It was so big it even had Melly's own mother posting, "He's coming home soon," on Instagram. Because now, for the first time in years, a real release window is being talked about, reports say. Against Melly, who's been locked up for 7 years, officially requested bond again on Wednesday, March 25th. His new legal team filed a motion in Broward County asking the court to finally set it, his attorneys argue. He's been held under harsh conditions, including solitary confinement, since December 2021. They also claim he hasn't had visitors in over 4 years and even lost phone privileges back in 2022. And here's the crazy part: for the past 7 years, every single attempt to get a bond hearing was denied. Every time until now. This time, it's actually scheduled, according to reports. YNW Melly could potentially be released as early as April 30th, depending on how that bond hearing plays out. The court even acknowledged that due to changes in circumstances and new evidence not previously reviewed, Melly is now entitled to reconsideration. And when pushing for his release, the defense brought up something major from the original trial. The prosecution had to admit that no firearm was ever recovered in the case.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what.
They also pointed to evidence found inside YNW Bortlen's home, evidence that could seriously damage his credibility and shift even more attention away
Melly's
from
co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows: on or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
Now here's where things get even more wild. The details from inside YNW Bortlen's home reveal something that doesn't look good at all, reports say. These are images of alleged notes discovered during a recent raid at Bortlen's home, officially filed with the Broward clerk by the state. Alongside those images were sketches showing exactly where jurors were seated, plus descriptions of what they looked like. And remember, during YNW Melly's original trial, Bortlen only showed up for 1 day before his own case got scheduled. But in that short time, he reportedly memorized the courtroom where each juror sat and how they looked. Then later, back at home, he drew it all out on paper, and to prosecutors that raises serious questions, almost like Bortlen believed those jurors were responsible for his best friend being found guilty, and he might have been planning to act on it to keep it real.
Keep it real. This is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They're like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your
And on
crib.
top of everything else, Melly's legal team is also using his current jail conditions as leverage to push for his release right now. YNW Melly is actively suing the Broward County Jail. According to reports, he filed a lawsuit against the Broward Sheriff's Office over alleged cruel treatment. Demanding immediate release, he claims he hasn't been allowed to see or even speak to his family in over 3 years. That news sparked reactions across the rap scene. Some artists are already speaking out, saying Melly's been locked up way too long and deserves a shot at freedom in the lawsuit. His lawyers argue he's been stuck in a freezing cold cell, denied proper food, and cut off from real human contact. And that kind of situation definitely caught attention in the industry at the same time. Not everyone agrees. As Charleston White put it, Melly shouldn't get special treatment just because he's a rapper. He should be treated like anyone else behind bars. But I want to hear from you. Do you think YNW Melly should be free? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading all of them. And if you're rocking with Melly, go ahead and like the video. Let's see how many of y'all are really tapped in.